Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Gaines. For more than 25 years, I've worked with men and women over 50, and I can tell you our bodies never stop surprising us. Let me start with this story that still makes me shake my head in amazement. A few years ago, one of my patients, Evelyn, was in her late 60s. She used to wake up every night with severe cramps in her calves, so painful she sometimes cried out. She was afraid to go for walks, afraid to climb stairs, even afraid of a fall that might change her independence forever. But within just 6 weeks of making some very simple changes, I'll share with you today, she walked into my office with a big smile. "Doctor," she said, "I danced at my granddaughter's wedding last weekend, and I didn't need to sit down once." Now, imagine that. Dancing, walking, living without fear. That's the power of giving your body back what it quietly asked for. And in today's video, I want to show you the vitamins and minerals that can give you that power again. But before we dive in, let me give you a little roadmap. Because among the 10 nutrients we'll discuss, there are two that I consider absolutely essential if you want to keep your legs strong and free of cramps. Vitamin D and magnesium. Together, they're like the spark plugs and the fuel of your muscles. Without them, your body struggles. With them, it thrives. So please stay with me until the end. It might be the most important conversation you have for your health this year. Now, let's begin with one of my favorites, magnesium. I sometimes call it the quiet mineral because you don't notice it until it's gone. Magnesium is what allows your muscles to contract and relax smoothly. Without it, the muscles fire chaotically spasms, cramps, even those middle of the night jolts that make you jump out of bed. Sound familiar? One of my patients once told me, "Doc, I feel like my calves have a mind of their own. They lock up like a vice just when I'm falling asleep." When we tested her magnesium, it was low. Within a month of adding more leafy greens, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and a gentle supplement, the nightly cramps nearly vanished. She said, "It's like getting my nights back." And science supports this. Studies from the National Institutes of Health show that magnesium deficiency is widespread in older adults, and it plays a central role in nerve and muscle stability. If you've ever felt restless legs or sharp cramps at night, magnesium might be your missing puzzle piece. Next, let's talk about vitamin K, the overlooked traffic controller of your body. Most people know calcium builds bones, but here's the twist. Calcium doesn't know where to go on its own. Without vitamin K, calcium can end up in your arteries, where it stiffens them, instead of in your bones, where it belongs. Think of vitamin K as the usher in a theater, guiding each mineral to its proper seat. I remember a gentleman in his early 70s, Jack, who had brittle bones despite taking calcium faithfully. When we checked his diet, it was nearly devoid of greens and fermented foods, the richest sources of vitamin K. Once he began adding spinach, kale, and even a little sauerkraut to his plate, his follow-up scans showed improved bone density. His comment to me was priceless. "Doc, who knew a little cabbage could help my knees?" Research backs this up. Large population studies suggest that people with higher vitamin K intake have stronger bones and fewer fractures. So don't forget it. A plate of greens might be doing more for your legs than any pain cream or brace. Now, let's move on to vitamin B12. Have you ever felt tingling in your feet or a strange numbness that makes walking feel uncertain? That's often a sign of low B12. This vitamin protects the coating around your nerves, like insulation on electrical wires. Without it, signals from your brain to your legs get delayed, and balance suffers. I recall a woman named Marjorie who came to me saying, "I feel like I'm walking on sponges." Her blood test revealed low B12. After a course of supplements, she came back weeks later saying, "The ground feels solid again." That's not magic, that's science. As we age, our stomach produces less acid, making it harder to absorb B12 from foods like meat, eggs, and dairy. And if you're taking certain medications like antacids or diabetes drugs, your risk of deficiency is even higher. Restoring B12 is like rebooting your nervous system. Suddenly, your legs listen to your brain again. Now, back to those two essentials I mentioned earlier. Let's look at vitamin D, the silent activator of your muscles. You've heard it's important for bones, but did you know it also affects your reaction time? A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that seniors with healthy vitamin D levels had faster reflexes and fewer falls. That's because vitamin D strengthens the very fibers that help you catch yourself when you stumble. The tricky part is that as we age, our skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight, and many of us spend more time indoors. That's why deficiency is rampant. Up to 60% of older adults in the U.S. may be low, but the solution is simple. Safe sunlight, fatty fish like salmon, fortified dairy, or supplements if needed. I usually recommend talking with your doctor about aiming for 800 to 2,000 IU daily. When restored, vitamin D brings back more than bone strength. It restores independence. Next, let's talk about something you may not expect in this list. Omega-3 fatty acids. You've probably heard they're good for your heart, but did you know they can also rescue your legs? Omega-3s reduce inflammation in the blood vessels, improve circulation, and keep the muscles and joints well lubricated. I've seen patients with chronic calf pain or stiffness find relief simply by eating salmon twice a week or adding flax seeds to their morning oatmeal. In fact, research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition highlights that older adults with higher omega-3 levels walk faster and report less muscle pain. That's because healthy circulation means oxygen gets delivered where it's needed most, your working muscles. Now that we've talked about magnesium, vitamin K, B12, vitamin D, and omega-3s, let's turn to the other 5 nutrients that can make all the difference for your legs after 60. Let's start with calcium. Everyone knows calcium builds bones, but what most people don't realize is that calcium is also the spark that makes muscles move. Every time your leg contracts, whether to climb a step, stand from a chair, or dance at a wedding, it's calcium that fires the signal. But here's the problem. As we age, our bones lose density. If your diet falls short, the body steals calcium from the bones to keep muscles working. That's when stiffness, weakness, or even fractures appear. I had a patient named Harold, 72 years old, who told me, "Doc, I drink milk sometimes, but it never seemed like enough." We tested him, he was low. After adding dairy, leafy greens, and a supplement paired with vitamin D, he noticed not just better balance, but less soreness after long walks. Science agrees. Older adults need about 200 milligrams a day. And when paired with vitamin D, calcium doesn't just protect bones on an X-ray, it gives your legs back the power you can feel. Next, let's talk about potassium, the great muscle balancer. Have you ever stood up too quickly and felt your legs wobble or cramp? Potassium is one of the body's main electrolytes. It keeps fluid moving, muscles contracting smoothly, and nerves firing on time. Without it, everything feels off, fatigue, trembling, even painful cramps after a simple stroll. This is especially common in seniors who take diuretics for blood pressure, because those medications flush potassium away. One of my patients, Gloria, always said, "I eat bananas, but still my legs give me trouble." When we reviewed her diet, she wasn't getting nearly enough variety. Adding spinach, sweet potatoes, avocados, and even coconut water helped restore her balance. Research from the American Heart Association shows that proper potassium intake lowers the risk of falls and improves muscle function in older adults. And here's the key: balance. Potassium and sodium work like dance partners. Too much salt without potassium, and the rhythm of your muscles falters. Now, I want to highlight a vitamin that often gets ignored: vitamin B6. This little nutrient is essential for energy metabolism and for making neurotransmitters that affect coordination. If you've ever gone for a short walk and felt drained, or stayed sore for days after light activity, it could be your body crying out for B6. A man named Thomas, 68, once told me, "Doctor, even after a quick trip to the store, I feel like I've run a marathon." His blood work showed low B6, likely worsened by his arthritis medications. After a few weeks of adding salmon, potatoes, bananas, and a simple multivitamin, he reported steadier energy and faster recovery. And he laughed, saying, My wife can't keep up with me now. The National Institutes of Health confirms that B6 is vital for older adults, especially since absorption declines with age. Restoring it is like fine-tuning your body's engine. It gives you the stamina to keep moving with confidence. Now let's move to vitamin E, your natural shield. Think of vitamin E as the body's antioxidant guard. It protects the cells in your muscles and blood vessels from oxidative stress, the wear and tear of daily life. Without it, circulation slows, muscles tire easily, and inflammation builds up. I once met a woman in her mid-60s who loved gardening but had to give it up because her legs felt heavy and achy after just 20 minutes outside. We discovered she was low in vitamin E. With more nuts, seeds, and a small supplement, her energy and endurance returned. I'm back in the garden, she told me, and it feels like medicine for my soul. Science echoes her story. Research suggests that vitamin E helps reduce exercise-induced muscle damage and supports circulation, which is critical as we age. Finally, let's talk about a lesser-known mineral, manganese. It doesn't get the spotlight like calcium or magnesium, but manganese quietly supports enzymes that repair connective tissue tendons, ligaments, and cartilage. Without it, the framework around your muscles weakens, leading to aches, stiffness, and slower healing. I'll never forget Richard, a retired carpenter in his 70s who struggled with knee pain after years of physical labor. His diet was low in whole grains and nuts foods, rich in manganese, with small changes, adding oats, brown rice, and green vegetables. He noticed less joint discomfort. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I oiled the hinges of my knees." And he was right. Manganese helps keep the body's hinges flexible and resilient. So let's take a moment to reflect. We've talked about 10 powerful nutrients: magnesium, vitamin K, B12, vitamin D, omega-3s, calcium, potassium, B6, vitamin E, and manganese. Each one is like a musician in an orchestra. Alone, they're helpful, but together, they create harmony. The kind of harmony that helps you walk steadily, sleep peacefully, and live independently. And here's what I want you to remember. Weakness, cramps, or shaky legs are not simply old age. They are your body's way of whispering, "I need help." The beauty is, even at 60, 70, or 80, when we give the body the right tools, it responds. Stronger steps, steadier balance, and more freedom in the life you love. So let me ask you, which of these nutrients do you think you might be missing right now? And what small change can you make this week? A handful of nuts, a glass of fortified milk, or a morning walk in the sun that could help you feel the difference? I'd love to hear your answers in the comments. If this video inspired you, please hit the like button and subscribe to join our community at Healthy to Wealthy. Together, we'll keep learning, keep moving, and keep thriving toward a healthier, wealthier life. Because your legs aren't just for walking, they're for carrying you toward a life worth living.